In this step-by-step video, you'll learn how to add Reveal to a Windows Forms application. First, you'll use Visual Studio 2019 to create a Windows Forms application using the .NET framework. Then you'll add a user control with a couple dozen lines of code that will handle loading and saving dashboards. And finally, you'll host that user control in a form to present to your users. In about 10 minutes, you'll be able to digitally transform any Windows Forms application, deliver a self-service BI experience to your users, and enable data-driven decision-making to drive better business results. This application we'll call the Reveal Dashboard app, and we will target the latest version of the .NET Framework, which is .NET Framework 4.8.1. Reveal requires .NET Framework 4.6.2 or higher when you're working with Windows Forms or WPF. We'll go ahead and create the project. The first thing that we want to do is light up this application with Reveal. We do that by adding the Reveal NuGet package for WPF. So let's go ahead and manage NuGet packages. I'm going to go to Browse. We'll look for Reveal BI, and you'll see the reveal.sdk.wpf package. While this is a Windows Forms application, you'll use the WPF element host control to host the Reveal viewer in your Windows Forms app. All of the other documentation that we have online targeting WPF is the same for Windows Forms, the API and everything. We are just using element host for the client. So let's go ahead and click install, and we'll accept all the defaults that pop up. Once everything installs, the first thing you should do is build a solution. You may get an error that says must use package reference. So what we want to do here is migrate the packages.config to the package reference format. So what you'll do is you'll right click on packages.config and migrate to the package reference. We'll select all of our items, click OK. You get a report letting you know that everything went well. And now if we run this application, we should see the default Form 1. And there we go. There's our default Form 1. On Form 1, since we are going to be showing a dashboard, we want it to be full screen. So let's go ahead and set its window state to maximized. And in this example, what we're going to do is build a Reveal viewer into a user control so we can reuse that wherever we need in our application. So I'm going to right click on my project. I'm going to add a user control for Windows Forms. And we're going to call this dashboard viewer. And the dashboard viewer is what's going to have the element host. So from my toolbox, let's go ahead and drag the element host onto our user control. And let's dock this in the parent so it takes up the full screen. So here we are, we're ready to go. I've got a user control, I have a form. If I build this and I go back to my form and I look for my dashboard viewer now in the toolbox, I can add the dashboard viewer right to my form. And in this case, I will go to its properties and set its dock property to fill the screen like so. So now if I run this, it'll look the same. It's a form with the user control. The user control has a gray background just like the form. So now we're going to add a Reveal dashboard to this. In order to load a dashboard, we need a dashboard. I'm going to create a new folder called Dashboards. And online, we have some sample dashboards that you can download and use. I've already done that. The location for these dashboards is in the documentation and in the comments below. So I will go ahead and add existing item. I'm going to go to my downloads, dashboard samples, select all files here, and I have a marketing and sales dashboard. And I'll add those in. So I'm going to load the sales dashboard in this demo. So now let's customize the dashboard viewer with the Reveal SDK so we can load a dashboard. The first thing that we're going to need to do is add the using statement for the Reveal SDK. This way we'll get our IntelliSense. And we're also going to be using system.io because we'll be reading the R- files as a file stream to load into the Reveal view. In Reveal, your dashboards have an R- extension. The dashboard file is simply a zip file renamed to .r-. Within the zip file, you'll find a JSON file that has the configuration for the particular dashboard that you're looking at. When you add these sample dashboards, make sure that you go to their properties and you set the build action to content and the copy to output directory to copy if newer. Because we're running this locally, it's going to create the debug folders, and we want to make sure that when we try to load a dashboard, they're actually in the correct folders. When you deploy it, you really don't have to worry about this. We're going to need a few variables that we're going to use within this class. So we'll go ahead and add those now. The first is a Reveal View object. The Reveal View is the main class used to render a dashboard, and the variable will be _Reveal View, which we'll use in this project. We're going to set up a couple properties for the dashboard directory and the extension, so this can be sort of dynamic within our code. There's our dashboards folder that we're going to point to, and our r- extension. And then the default directory for the dashboards, we'll set that property so we know where to get the files from. Next, after initialize component, we want to set a couple properties as well. The first is a property which is sort of a delighter. We have a enable actions on hover tooltip. Currently, this is a property that you'll need to set. In a future version of the SDK, it will be the default, but for now, you go ahead and set this to true, and it gives you a nicer tooltip experience. We'll set that default directory, and what we're doing here is using system.io to find that directory path. And then Reveal View, we're going to create a new instance of the Reveal View object. And finally, we'll set the element host child property to the Reveal View that will hold our dashboard. The next thing we need to do is add a function to load the dashboard into the Reveal View. So in this application, there's only a few functions that we're actually going to add. This load dashboard will accept a string, which is the name of the dashboard, and using the capabilities from the system.io namespace, we are going to read the r- file and return a stream to load into the dashboard viewer. Remember the Reveal View that we declared earlier. Also note here we are setting a property called hover tooltips enabled, and I'll highlight the difference when we run the application and you can see what this behavior does. So let's go ahead and add this get dashboard stream from file function. So we'll add this, and what we're doing here is, again, we're taking in the dashboard name and just using system.io, we are getting the current directory, and then we are reading that file and returning a stream to the caller. So in this case, we are simply getting the stream and then loading it into a Reveal View. The only thing left to do now is to call load dashboard. So if we scroll back up to our dashboard viewer constructor, we can call load dashboard directly from here and then pass it one of the dashboard names like sales to load into the Reveal View. And that's all we need to do to load a dashboard in your Windows Forms client. So if we build this and we go look at our dashboard viewer component, it's going to look the same because basically everything's happening in our code behind. So let's go ahead and hit start. And there you go. We have loaded our sales dashboard into our dashboard viewer user control in our Windows Forms application. So you'll notice as I'm hovering over the individual items that the tooltip is following me. You can see that the tooltip sort of follows the mouse. This is a feature that we turned on through the properties. So if I close the application and we go back to the dashboard viewer, I can comment out Reveal hover tooltips enabled, and then comment enable actions on hover tooltip, which we set with the Reveal SDK settings. Now when I run, you'll see that the tooltip doesn't follow my mouse. It's just along a horizontal plane with the chart. So that's the feature that we've enabled with those property settings. And because all of the features of Reveal are available in this client, you can maximize, you can view data in different ways. I can click the overflow. If I'd like, I can export this as an image. I have the image exporter here. I can highlight things, draw arrows, add text, and then copy that to the clipboard or paste it into an email. If I minimize this and I'm back at the full dashboard view, when I hit this overflow, you can see I've got my edit mode. I have some export options. If I want to export this, for example, to a PDF file, It'll bring up the PDF exporter. I can customize various aspects of this. Click Export to PDF. Put this in our desktop as sales.pdf. And let's go ahead and open up our sales PDF. Let's open this with Microsoft Edge. And you can see I've got the PDF just as you would have expected, pixel perfect to the dashboard view. If I go to the overflow again and I select edit, now I'm in edit mode for this dashboard. So you'll notice as I'm selecting individual items, they're being highlighted. So for example, if I want to edit this visualization, I can click edit, and now I'm into the editor. Maybe I want to remove pipeline and do new sales by employee. I can change the title and change pipeline to new sales and check the box. However, we have not wired up the event to save this to disk. So when I click this checkbox, nothing is going to happen. It won't save. If I click the X, it'll revert back to the original dashboard. So let's close this and let's go ahead and update this code to include save dashboard. So I'll scroll down underneath load dashboard. I'll just add save dashboard. This code is not doing anything specific to Reveal. It is all system.io. We are simply taking that stream and writing it back to disk. There are multiple ways to handle saving. If you want to force a save as, you can do that. If you want to automatically create a new file name, so then you'd have two different dashboards, but that's really up to you and the strategy that you're going to create for how dashboard files are handled in your application. It might be per user, per company, per tenant, etc. Completely up to you how that works. So let's go back up to initialize component and we'll wire this up. So the reveal view.save dashboard function should be handled by reveal view underscore save dashboard, which is the function that we just pasted in. Now when we run this again, we'll switch over to edit mode. We'll edit our sales pipeline by employee again. We'll remove pipeline. Let's add new sales. We'll change the title, new sales by employee. We'll change the color so it's obvious that we've made a change. And we'll hit the checkbox. Now when we hit the checkbox, it'll save. So this is the new sales dashboard. If we close this and we rerun this to reload the sales dashboard, you'll see that we have the new visualization with the new data. So in a handful of steps with 3 new functions added to your dashboard viewer user control, you've enabled a Windows Forms application to view and edit dashboards from Reveal.